All right, guys, we're back. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. I Love a Mama's Boy, Season 3. We're on Episode 6. This is Part 2. So we want to go to Miami, Florida, and talk about a bachelorette party for Lena that she has planned with her closest friends. She did not invite her mother, even though her mother wanted to be there, but her mother-in-law, Esther, who claims she's there on an unrelated trip, is trying to invite her way into the bachelorette party. So we watched Esther talk to one of her friends who gave excellent advice and said, do not crash the party. They will not appreciate it in the way that you believe they would appreciate it. And she's 100% right. But I will say this, Esther did not actually crash the party. Like, she didn't show up to the club. She crashed the Airbnb where they were staying afterward. So one of the things that we learned is Esther does not drink alcohol. And at a bachelorette party, there will be quite a bit of alcohol. So Lena felt getting drunk in front of her future mother-in-law would not be a good look, and she didn't want her to be present. So apparently there were some bachelorette party glasses that were left in Ohio that Esther had with her on the plane, and that was her excuse to show up at the Airbnb. So it got a little awkward, but I will say she was only there for like 15 minutes. She didn't invite herself to any of the festivities. But what are your thoughts? What do you think is going on? Do you think this is ridiculous? Do you think that this is unforgivable? Do you think that she should have stayed where she was? Like, where are you with this?
Okay, so I like the fact that her friend tried to talk common sense in her and say, no, there's boundaries. If they wanted you there, they would have invited you. Because even though that was kind of sharp and I felt that, it's true, don't invite yourself, because you'll never get your feelings hurt more than try to invite yourself to something that you weren't planned to be invited to. Like, that is just guaranteed to hurt you. But since she's adamant about doing something, sometimes people that have that mindset have to learn the hard way. So obviously there was no talking her down from the ledge. She wanted to go. I do like that, one, she got the best of both worlds. She got her way because she snooped and saw what was going on. Right. But she had the glasses that she used as an excuse. So she did want the glasses. So it was nice. Mm-hmm. She's like, here, I just wanted to bring them to you. She got to look around a little bit, scope out the scene, and leave. So the fact that she didn't pull up a chair, grab a lemonade, go take a dip in the pool, start searching the bedrooms. You know what I mean? I think that was good. It was kind of that was the common ground where I'm going to meet you halfway. Cause I think in all honesty, everybody knew that she was going to drop by. But I don't think that bachelor and bachelorette parties are made for parents. It's a time for you to let loose with your friends, be yourself. And even if you have that really close relationship, because it's wouldn't it make more sense for her to have went to the bachelor party with him to Top Golf and what else? Because it's even though that sounds weird, they're the one with a tight-knit relationship. Mm-hmm. So kind of inviting herself on the girls' trip, it was just a bit much, because even though she likes and accepts her close bond is with her son. So it would have made more sense for her to try to get in on the bachelor party, in my opinion, than the bachelorette party, because, but, we knew she was going to show up. She's in the same city. So at least she did it tastefully.
Right. She definitely did it tastefully. She didn't show up to any of the festivities. She didn't make anything awkward at the club or at a restaurant or at a party. I feel like she wants that close bond with her future daughter-in-law, and she's kind of forcing it. And I think that it's going to build with time. Once her and Ethan are married, she's going to be over more. They're going to do the family dinners at their house, and that bond will grow. And, they might actually get to be that tight of a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law combo, but you can't force that. That's something that you have to let build over time. So I want to talk about a DNA test that actually took place. So we learned in the first episode this season talk of a DNA test floating around the season. Nobody actually thought that this DNA test would take place. So Roberto's mother decided that their daughter does not belong to her son. She feels that this child belongs to Christy and some mystery man. And she wants a DNA test to prove that she's right. And out of all of the things that we've seen on this show, I think this is the most shocking accusation that a mother-in-law has put on her daughter-in-law. Like, on everything that we've seen, this has been not just shocking, but hurtful, disrespectful, and just harmful to the relationship and harmful to the child. And I think what really caught everyone off guard was the idea that Roberto asked his, I don't want to say asked, kind of forced his wife, Christy, to go through with the test, even as she voiced her concerns during the test, during the process, how it made her feel. He kind of didn't react. He just felt, well, this is going to make my mom happy. And he's only thinking about Nancy's feelings in this situation. And at this point, Christy is wondering, is this a marriage that I want to actually be in?
I stand by what I had said in our previous podcast about this. I think that I am more so, out of all the people in the situation, I'm bothered for the child, for little Kimberly. She is such a doll baby. They showed her. And you know what? I'm wondering how her relationship is with Nancy. Like, because I don't know if we've seen, I don't remember, interaction with her and her grandchildren. Does she treat her differently? Like, why her? Like, why did she pick her? Because, siblings, okay, a lot of siblings, maybe, when they're born, they'll start off looking like this parent, and then they'll switch and look like this parent. Or maybe they won't look like the parents at all. Maybe they'll look like their brother or sister. Right. It's crazy how, the genetics work. So I just don't understand why that little girl, why are you I hate her so much, I'm going to say that that's not my grandchild. And it's that's who you're hurting. Sticks and stones can hurt her bones, but that little girl, she's the one that is really hurting in the situation. And like she said, she's like, oh, she thinks it's just an innocent little game and she's going to get some candy, a swab in her mouth or whatever. And it's if she knew what was happening, that's therapy right there. My dad doubted that I was his, what? And I feel bad for Christy because, she's like, okay, I gave you my life. I gave you 2 children. I put up with how your mom treats me. And you have the nerve to question if our children are yours. And the fact that he didn't stand up, you're a fighter, you have a backbone, but it's your mom is your kryptonite. It's you have to be able to be like, Mom, I love you, but dude, stay in your lane on this one. These are my family, these are my kids. Because what happens, heaven forbid, if she checked out and wasn't his? And the mom ended up being right. Then what? He raised this little girl. So does he turn his back? I mean, the other one's his, I'm assuming. Does he get another DNA test? Does she open Pandora's box? There's so much that can be harmed in this whole family situation over just hating someone. And it's just, they needed to get some family therapy. That's what they needed to do. They need to heal. They need to figure out the bigger picture. Why does Nancy feel the way she does?
So for me, I feel like this relationship is always going to be in this type of place because Nancy has such a high place in his opinion and thought process. And like he said, he did say in one of the interviews, he said, I should have ended this DNA test talk when my mom brought it up and it should have ended there, but I didn't. And now it's kind of gotten completely out of hand. And Christy kind of feels like she's in a relationship with someone who doesn't care about her, doesn't care about her feelings. Because when you ask someone to do that, you're saying that they cheated on you, they've lied to you, and they've hid it from you, which is the most ultimate betrayal that anyone could do to anyone in a marriage. And he played it and downplayed it to where he's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's a huge deal. There are people who are divorced over paternity test suspicions or children suspicions, cheating suspicions. This is a very serious accusation. And I think Nancy is the person who needs to be removed from this relationship. Like, her being in this relationship is the toxicity of the relationship. When we see them together, they're usually happy unless the conversation brings up Nancy, and then there's negativity and there's animosity and there's aggression. Whenever they're just talking about normal everyday things, they seem to be doing fine. So I really want to see them remove Nancy from the situation and make decisions as a couple. They don't need Nancy's input. They don't need to make her happy, and they don't need to please her in this relationship. This relationship is theirs alone. And if Nancy doesn't approve, that is a personal issue that she would have to deal with. You don't need to have your wife take a paternity test to make your mom feel happy about your relationship. You know, relationships are something that your children will get into whether you like it or not. You can choose not to go to the wedding. You can choose not to be in their lives. You can choose a lot of different things, but you cannot choose to give his wife a paternity test. All right, guys, that's it for part 2. Next week, we're going to catch up with Shakib, Emily, and Yusra and our throuple couple and see how things are going. Hopefully, they're going well, and hopefully, Shakib is not including Yusra in any of their future dates. But we will have to see. All right, guys, I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. Make sure you're live tweeting with us every Sunday night, and we will talk to you all really soon.